Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast. Inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs, here is your host, Dr. Francis Arlene.
Quick note before we get into today's episode. If you're a small home health agency owner, you already know this. Most agencies don't fail because of census. They fail because of continuity and compliance gaps that don't show up until it's too late. I've been working directly with small agencies around continuity planning, compliance readiness, and operational stability, especially owners who are wearing too many hats and don't have a real plan if key people, systems, or processes break. This isn't coaching, and it's not a course. It's hands-on consulting to help you reduce risk and build something that can actually survive audits, turnover, and growth. If that's you and you want to talk, you can find me at drfrancisrichards.com. All right, let's get back to the show. What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience episode number 540. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Francis Arlene. Meet Dub Washington, a force in finance, mindset, and spiritual alignment. He teaches entrepreneurs how to harness their credit, get the banks to fund their dreams at 0% interest, and align their money with their purpose. Dub isn't just teaching wealth, he's teaching freedom. Welcome, Dub.
Thank you. A pleasure to be on, man. Such an amazing platform that you built. It's always a pleasure to come and share financial literacy to our people so we can move that ball forward to put our families in an overall better position. So once again, first and foremost, I appreciate you for having me on your amazing platform.
Thank you. I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you share with our audience what you want them to know about you and your business?
I come from a small town in South Carolina. We may have, let's just say, about 6 or 7 red lights. I'm used to the small community. And growing up, I never really believed that I would say that wealth was attainable for me because I didn't come from a silver spoon. I didn't come from rich parents, so on and so forth. I got access to financial literacy, I would say very much delayed. So I would say 30, 32, whenever I first got access to this information. And I'm just coming back to spread this knowledge to showcase the power of credit, because once again, often in our community, we don't treat credit as a leverage tool. We treat it as an opportunity to go and buy liabilities and so on and so forth. So for me, it's just understanding financial literacy is that I would say the bridge for true freedom. Without credit, I think that it's very, very hard for anyone to obtain any type of financial freedoms. I'm here to just bless the people. In 2021, whenever it really kind of clicked for me, as I was working in a warehouse as a shipping and receiving supervisor, and I was listening to different podcasts, mainly sports podcasts at the time. And whenever I stumbled upon financial literacy and credit and the power that it has, it was like a light switch just went off. I'm like, what could I do to put myself in a better position at a much faster pace? Because it is a lot easier to go and get $100,000 in credit before you can save $100,000. Most people never make it to save it. So credit is the new wave. It is the gap between the bridge.
What is something that we as consumers don't know about credit that we should know about credit?
Oh, that's an amazing question. As consumers, I don't think we truly leverage the power of the credit system. And inside of that individual credit system is like how banks truly work. Like we are accustomed to going and treating every single institution as if they're all the same. I tell my mentees and my students all the time is like, it's not a one size fits all whenever you're trying to go and obtain a business credit card. Yes, Navy Federal may offer a business credit card, but that's not particularly the institution that you should go to for business credit cards. Or if you're going for a line of credit, and certain institutions may have it to where you got to submit certain documents. So we typically go to banks and or credit unions that specializes in the specific product that we're going for, while we understand those requirements associated with it, such as 3 to 6 months bank statements. Some banks may ask for a 1 year tax return. So depending on where you're trying to go, you need to develop a strategy. And I think as consumers, that's where most of us make the mistake at, is like we never have a strategy whenever we're trying to obtain this capital.
What was that aha moment, Dub, when you knew you were onto something?
Whenever I went and got my first high limit credit card, and it was with Navy Federal, of course, on the personal side, I had like a low 600 credit score. And whenever they gave me access to this high limit credit card for 25,000, I was like, this is the moment that everything changes for me, because my mindset had shifted from investing into mentorships and low ticket mentorships just to get access to certain information. And whenever I knew that I got my high limit credit card, the goal was to leverage it. And as I purchased more and more information, it literally just transpired me and transformed me into a completely different person in the form of how I view finances.
I like that when you said not only did you leverage, your mindset shifted, but you learned how to take that credit to leverage your knowledge. So you purchased the knowledge. Talk about your top two
Okay.
mentors, influencers, and what lessons did they teach you?
So first and foremost, I would say my first one that I had to say is my pastor, Pastor Darius Daniels. So I'm in his inner circle mentorship. So just knowing how to leverage spiritual development along with the finances has been a major staple for me along the way, because like we often get caught up in the day-to-day life of hustle and grind culture, as we call it, to where we're just chasing the money, yet we forget who truly gives us the ability. So my favorite Bible verse is Deuteronomy 8:18. And if it was any one person in particular that I had to pick, it would be Pastor Darius, for just how he teaches you not only to be spiritually aligned, but also how to maneuver in commerce, how to maneuver in the marketplace. And we are here to pretty much make other people's lives better, but also to spread the word of spirituality and, bringing people closer to the root. So if it was any one person that I had to pick, it would definitely be my pastor. We call him PD. So Pastor Darius Daniels.
And you get one more.
Okay, and my next one would be, I have so many, man, it's gonna be kind of hard to put it. I would probably say Myron Golden. That would be another one of my mentors that kind of bridges the gap between, once again, spirituality and financial literacy, to merge the two together to truly instill the thought process that we should be fruitful and multiply. So they have different styles and different ways in which they teach, but those would be the top two out of all.
Let me ask you this, Deb. If you lost everything and you had 30 days to rebuild, in what industry and why?
Coaching, simply because it is no upside to it. All you can do, or all you have to do, is literally have a Wi-Fi signal and have a social media app, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, and then I would just go live for 30 days for an hour. And then I would just talk about the knowledge that I have obtained. Because the thing about investing and the thing about, furthering your mindset and knowledge, that could never be taken away from you. So a lot of people look at my background, they think that it's a picture, but it's actually a lot of these books, you know what I'm saying? So I'm a very avid reader. And I would say, like, listen, man, I could lose everything, but because I have these as assets, I would have many different strategies to kind of attack and go. But coaching would be the single one thing that I would kind of focus on, and just spreading the knowledge, because credit is, once again, evergreen system. If I could show you how to go out access capital, you're then, just from human psychology and just human interaction, you're going to feel like you owe me something. So if my free information could get you access to $10,000, you would have no problem then coming back to pay me 2,000 or another 1,000 to get access to more information or more access to me. So coaching would be the number one thing that I would do.
Let's talk about success. How do you personally define success?
That's such a great question. Success is walking through the doors at home and truly feeling the love. Because oftentimes in our community, we deem success as our bank account. We deem success as the materialistic thing, the cars, the houses, so on and so forth, the jewelry, right? But what I would say true success is having the ability to spend lasting moments with the people that mean most to you. And every single day, whenever if I have to leave from the office or go on a podcast, different things, whenever I get back home and me walking through the door, coming through the garage, and then I hear my three kids saying, "Daddy," that's success to me. To answer your question, I know it's kind of cliche a little bit, but that's how I would deem success because I see a lot of people who have the multi-million dollar companies, but truly where you're supposed to be honored and loved at, they don't truly have that. So my definition of success would be feeling that love when you walk through the home, whether it's your wife, your kids, your husband, whoever, but truly feeling loved.
Speaking of love, talk about love and marriage and entrepreneurship.
This is great. You have to understand that your vision may not be your spouse's vision, right? Whenever you get into love, marriage, entrepreneurship, I want a certain lifestyle that my wife don't desire to have. So certain things I'll be like, listen, I want to go to this vacation. It may be a $30,000, $40,000 vacation. Her mindset is like, listen, that is way too much to spend on a vacation. We could travel for the entire year and stay domestic and be able to maneuver through small towns and cities, whatnot, and then get an overall experience. But I think just being in alignment, having communication, all of those things are very important because once again, God gave me the vision. He didn't necessarily give it to my wife, or if it's a wife that's watching this, God gave you that vision. He didn't necessarily give it to your husband. So trying to manage and maneuver through all of that, along with the communication part, that's going to be very important with making sure you don't lose your marriage chasing access to this capital or the finances.
Talk about fatherhood. Is there a parallel that or a lesson that you were taught in fatherhood that is in tandem with entrepreneurship?
I always like to tell stories. What we don't want to do is get 15 years. So I have a 7 year old, I have a 6 year old, and I have a 2 year old. I don't want them to become teenagers and have all of the gadgets, have all of everything that they want and desire. And I provided them with the presence with the TS on the end over the presence with the CE on the end. So one of the things that I hold dearly to me is being able to be present with my kids and not making them hate me for the things that I give them. Because especially in this age and time, whenever we get a level of success, financial freedom, we tend to want to give kids a lifestyle that we didn't have. We try to give, and I struggle with this myself. Speaking from confidence here and from real life, I try to give them as much as possible, but I don't try to substitute giving them things without me being there. So fatherhood and entrepreneurship is a very tough battle because you miss out on some deals. But once again, you don't want to look up 10, 15 years down the line and then they hate you for everything that you provided them with, even if it's a better lifestyle.
Deb, what problem exists in the world today that you would like to solve?
Our community and their mindset around credit and not thinking that you can't get it, right? Because every person that's listening to this or watching this, you are able to leverage your credit profile and go and get upwards of $250,000 from a bank. And depending on your strategy, you could get access to this capital at 0% APR. And that's what me and my company do is we help people to think differently pertaining to credit, financial mindset, so on and so forth. And that's a major problem in our communities that we think we have to literally work for everything. Whenever you have other ethnicities, you have other communities who's leveraging the credit system and they understand it better. So if it's one problem that I would say that I could help people solve is just understanding how the banking and credit system works and how we can truly leverage it to create financial freedom.
You have many success stories. Share a success story from a client and only share what you can legally share about that client and the success.
Perfect. So I have, I speak about him a lot. My brother, James Lewis, he started with me in 2022, I want to say. He's been with me since then. And he has, just from my teachings, amassed over 1.3 currently in funding. And we always structure other funding rounds. So we're going to continue to build from that. I have another student, Josh, out there in Texas. He does solar paneling. He went and got access to maybe a little bit over $2 million on a business line of credit. Of course, he had the financials. So I'm trying to cultivate a community to where we have at least 12 millionaires. So I take a lot of my teachings and principles after biblical concepts. So whenever Jesus sought out to make the world a better place, he picked 12 people, right? We call them his close friends, disciples. And what ended up happening was I am trying to, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that I am Jesus. But if I could get together 12 people who have access to at least $1 million, the group economics of what we can do with buying apartment complexes, buying new communities, subdivisions, so on and so forth, the opportunities are endless. So with those two, those were two of them that has amassed over 7 figures in funding along with myself. And I'm just trying to get as many people as possible to come along and join this and get this group economics going.
Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client, that's great that you asked this, is someone who's willing to learn. You don't need to have perfect credit. You don't even need to understand the credit system in itself. You are just willing to sit back and learn and challenge certain concepts and ideologies that was passed down to us. I'm going to show you one of my favorite books that I always recommend my mentees read whenever they come in, but Money Mammoth is a great book that I recommend everybody read because if you struggle with personal finances, a lot of the times it's based on how you view and think about money. So certain concepts and certain ideas that was passed down to us, those are no longer applicable in 2026. What worked, let's just say 10 years ago. We can say what worked 5 years ago because it's always changing. So my ideal client will be someone that is really ready to learn and who's serious about changing their financial situation.
And who's the author of that book?
The author of that book is Dr. Brad Klontz and Dr. Edward Horowitz. I'll hold it up again so they can get a good look at it.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. What have you not done in life that you dream about often that you would like to do?
I would say that I don't have full time freedom yet. What I have not done was retired my entire family, right? So immediate family, my mother, my father, grandmother, so on and so forth. That is the thing that I desire to do the most that I haven't done already because I can have the freedom to be able to maneuver and go to this place or be in this state. But if everybody around me who I truly love don't have that freedom, I don't have the freedom in a sense, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. What do you need right now that you don't have to move the needle forward?
I'm going to be transparent here, and I would say more spiritual alignment. I feel like I am aligned, but I think I could be more in depth with my spiritual walk because once again, like he has blessed me with the family. He has blessed me with the ability to make money, the ability to impact other people. So I think that I need to go deeper into my walk with Christ, right? Or whoever you believe in, that's watching this. But for me, it is Jesus Christ. So me diving deeper into that will be probably the single most important thing that could move the needle. And that's for overall life, not just in finances, not just in marriage, fatherhood, so on and so forth, but it's just overall quality of life.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not. They've inspired you so much. Who is that person and what are you saying to that person?
It would definitely be, oh man, that's great. You kind of caught me off guard with that one. Probably my grandmother, right? She's still alive. And I would just say, thank you for the sacrifices that you instilled for me to realize what you did, if that makes sense. So it's a lot of things that we don't realize as children until we get to be adults, the true sacrifices. So having to make a decision from going to work or coming to the basketball games and missing out on money that could put more food on the table. We come from an era to where we had layaway, right? A lot of these new Gen Z, they don't know about layaway and and things like that. So just putting school clothes on layaways, like I see the sacrifices as I got older of what everything that was did. And I would just say, listen, man, just hold on. Let me get myself all the way together so we can get you on that private jet to a private island, which you've never experienced before.
That's beautiful. There's a lot of rewards and risk in entrepreneurship. Talk about a risk that you had taken in business and what was that lesson that you learned from that risk?
So the biggest risk I would say is my first investment into mentorship, because I look at that as an investment because I was working in a warehouse, only making $500 a week in 2021, which essentially was 5 to 6 weeks of my work that I had to put into someone online that I knew only minimal information about, but I had seen the vision and access to that information. So for the person that's out here that's listening to this or watching this, and you're seeing a lot of people online selling information, or you have a multitude of different mentors, and or you're seeing a multitude of different mentors online, just understand that it's not always about the information that you get. Sometimes it's about the resources and the environment that you get yourself into whenever you invest into these communities, mentorship, so on and so forth. So for me, it would be that first investment of $2,500, because that was the scariest investment that I have made, because it seemed unrealistic that I was ever going to make the money back. So that would be, I've made other, several 30, $40,000 investments since then, but the memory muscle of saying, hey, I have to spend $2,500 and I've never done this before, that would probably be the biggest risk, but it has also been the biggest return for myself.
Talk to a younger Deb. What are you saying to a younger you?
I would say comparison is a killer to your success. Don't look at what other people are doing on social media, because people only post the highlight reels, not necessarily what they're going through. So imagine you comparing yourself to someone else who's not authentic versus your own potential. So only focus on your potential and where you should be at, because not every blessing is intended for you. So that's what I would say to my younger self.
What is a daily or a weekly habit that you do consistently that you believe have given you the greatest success?
Deep Bible work, which falls into reading. Like I said, you can see back here, like I have a multitude of books. We could go forever talking about those, but reading is very, very beneficial to my overall success, because I often like to look at books as mentors, whether they're dead or alive, because they're going to leave the clues. They say success leaves clues. And if you can go and take one principle from each of these books, your life will be so much better. So reading is very, very beneficial to my overall success.
Describe a moment when you were on the verge of giving up. What pulled you through?
I remember in 2022, I want to say, once I got started with the journey, and then you get, I don't know how to, it's called a term, it's buyer's, not buyer's remorse, but it was like I was investing into every mentorship. I got access to a $25,000 credit card. And I'm like, okay, I need to buy more information. I need a personal credit coach, a business credit coach, a marketing coach, an ads coach, a multitude of different things. And whenever I looked up and the credit card was maxed out, and I was like, wait, everything that I've learned, I haven't made any money off of yet. Yes, I've been surrounded around good people. I'm in communities of other people making money, but I have $20,000 due on a $25,000 credit card. My credit score tanked. And I'm like, listen, it's only up from here. So I knew at that moment, like, either I can go back to where I was at, which I did not want to do, was going back to that warehouse, or I could figure out a way to make it work so I could get myself out of the hole and continue to thrive.
And what I hear you saying, knowledge is powerful, but executing from the knowledge that you have is even more powerful. Because you can have the knowledge, but if you do not execute, you will be an intellectual dummy.
Absolutely. It's applied execution. You see what I'm saying? So, or applied information, rather. That's the correct terminology. But you have to make sure that you're not just reading these books and doing nothing out of it, because I can know every author of every book and tell you the best book that they wrote. But if I don't apply any of those principles, what good is it doing me to know the information and not execute upon it?
Absolutely. What's a common strategy or rule that you've broken in your industry, and why did it work for you?
So it would be, I would say, understanding strategy. And typically, a lot of people didn't understand banking and how to leverage the banks. And I say, I make the banks compete to lend you money. But one of the cycles I would say, or strategies that I've broken through with, is teaching people how to truly leverage the credit and banking system by taking money or credit, liquidating it, and building other deposit relationships. Now, this was a thing whenever I first started in 2022 doing this, whenever I was trying to come up out of credit card debt and trying to make ends meet, was like, how could I leverage my credit to get access to more capital, but also how to generate more revenue or income, whichever industry that you're in. And me understanding how to audit the banks, leveraging reward points, so on and so forth, has been a major staple for me climbing out of the hole and understanding, like, listen, this is a strategy that a lot of people don't even realize is very profitable.
You mentioned that you're in the Carolinas. The work that you're doing, is it global or specific to a region?
I help entrepreneurs that's all over the United States, right? I have a few students that just recently joined my mentorship. I have two from Germany, and I had one from, I can't remember the other country they was from, but it's national. Long as you're able to have Wi-Fi, and then you can come to, if you were to join my mentorship, a bi-weekly live calls, live Q&A, then I can service anybody in the United States specifically.
If someone's interested, Dub, in connecting with you or finding out more about your mentorship, how do they find that out?
I need everybody listening to text class, CLASS, to 864-721-8750. And in this, you're going to get a link to sign up for my weekly masterclass. I do every single Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. I do a weekly masterclass breaking down how to build your personal credit, how to structure your personal credit, because after we build it, we got to add quality comparables. Then we go to structuring our business profiles and structuring the business credit, because that's very important. And then we leverage all of this access to capital to go and build other banking relationships. So if you text class to 864-721-8750, my team will send you the link to join. You register for it, and then we're doing it every single week at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And I'm just there to just bless the people with free information to get the ball rolling for you and your family.
Thank you for that. What's a belief you had early in your journey that you now know was completely wrong?
That credit is only supposed to be used for emergency purposes only. I can't tell you the number of times that I've heard that in our community from my grandmother, right? From my elders, and they say, hey, stay away from the credit cards. Now, I understand why. If you don't have the correct mindset around it, then it's going to be, wouldn't be a good decision for you to have access to a lot of credit cards, because you end up in credit card debt. But a belief that I held on to was that we're only supposed to use credit whenever we don't have the cash to cover it, right? And that was completely false, because I've leveraged a multi seven-figure empire all by building out and leveraging the overall credit system. So that would be the number one thing that I used to believe that I no longer believe now.
Talk about your why. Why do you do what you do?
Oh man, this is great. I thought I had it's on my other phone, but it's my three kings. It's my 7, 6 at the time of this recording, and 2-year old Kenneth, Caden, and Kingston. That's my why. Because as a parent, now I think all parents can attest to this, is that is no love like a child. You see what I'm saying? Like, you will literally give your life for them to continue living and literally give it all up for them. So I got three wives. I don't have one, I have three. So I got three boys, and they are my wives. Why I keep going. Anybody that know me know I talk about them a lot. I never have been anywhere without them. Anytime I'm traveling, I'm speaking at different events, they're gonna see my kids. Anytime I'm on a plane, they're on the plane. So for sure.
Love it. So you have your own little three wise men.
Hmm.
Three wise kings. I love that. And speaking of family, we're going to step back. You talked about when I asked you to give a monologue and you mentioned your grandmother. I'd like you to say her name.
Linda.
All right. So this is a shout out to your grandmother, Grandma Linda. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
What is the takeaway from this interview? The listening audience is listening. What do you want them to leave with?
I want them to leave with a different mindset around finances, around mindset, around family legacy. Because if you apply a multitude of things that I teach, you should be able to set everyone in your family up, let's just say with 1 to 2 LLCs. And if you have a large family like me, and this is my overall family structure, is I have multiple LLCs, my wife has multiple LLCs, my kids are added on there. They're getting paid for marketing. So we're developing the deposit relationships and relationships with multiple different banks for them to build out their credibility with them. And if each family has, let's just say, even 3 LLCs, you could leverage each one of those to go and access capital from the bank. And if you can get some family dynamics going on, you can change the next generation. You can change how your last name is now a legacy, right? So anybody that's willing, and I think that a lot of us want to access more money. Of course, we don't idolize it, but we all want access to more capital. We all want access to more money to set the future generations up to be in better position. But just truly understanding that credit is out here to be leveraged and it's made up. It's an unlimited amount of credit, and they're looking to give it away because the primary way a bank makes money is by lending out. We often look at credit as we often look at banks rather as a holding institution. In all reality, it is a lending institution. The only way they make money is by lending out money. We just have to be the qualified client for them to lend it to. And then whenever we get access to this capital, we're building out future legacies.
Speaking of legacy, Dub, when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
Man, I got a very vivid picture in my head of the year. It could be 70 years from now, right? My family, my kids, grandkids, great grandkids rather, are looking out over a large estate. And then they're all sitting there. One of my slogans is, or my only slogan is everybody eats. They're all sitting around at the dinner table, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then they're looking out over the estate. And then they're like, listen, Grandpa Dub, as they called him, or great Grandpa Dub, is the reason why we have all of these businesses, why we have this success set in place. And then it just all points back to me because I am the black sheep of the family. I am the one who, once again, stepped out on faith and was like, listen, I'm going to change the Washington's last name to make it a true legacy.
Let's talk about becoming Dub Washington. How have you become, or how are you becoming?
I have become a greater man because my wife, of course, she has some standards, of course, and I'm becoming a better father as my kids get older. So it's just the family dynamics. I come from a single parent household. It was just me and my mother. Of course, we had my grandmother there to help us out, and my aunt. But for the most part, it's like understanding what I didn't have as a young black man coming up and providing that for my sons to essentially show them what true family legacy and what true family dynamics looks like. Because a lot of people talk about generational wealth. You can't pass down generational wealth if you don't have anybody to pass it down to. So I am becoming a better father, and I have become a much better husband, a better man due to my wife.
And speaking of family, say the name of not only giving honor to your wife, say her name, but also your mother.
So my mother, Vanessa, my wife, Tiffany, and of course, my grandmother, Linda, and then my kids, Kenneth, Katie, and Kingston.
Thank you for that. Let's talk about mental wellness. How do you manage mental wellness?
You got to stay in the word. There's no way around it. I tell a lot of people to engage in certain activities. Some people, we don't condone it, smoking, drinking, all of these different things, but how you truly should handle it, you got to stay deeply rooted in your roots. You got to stay in that word and you got to try to emulate your life behind successful people. And I would say, out of the history of time, the greatest person that has ever lived, the most successful person would be our creator. So, and once again, this is my opinion. And that's how I stay on track for mental wealth and mental health.
What's calling for your attention today when we speak about self-care is physical, mental, and spiritual? Which one is calling for you today?
I would say spiritual, but I think as that moves the needle to where I want to be more, but I would say more of the physical because I took some time to really focus on the spiritual aspect. And now I want to get into the physical part of just watching what I put into my body, such as foods that I eat, and just taking better care of the throne that has been provided to me.
What breaks your heart, Dub?
Anybody that's disloyal. So I am easily taken advantage of because my heart is good. So I open up to a lot of people. And then typically whenever it happens, it's like, listen, man, I've done nothing wrong. I only wanted to help. And then whenever you truly open to people, and then it turns out that they were just leveraging you or using you in a sense only for one individual thing, like that sometimes gets to me. And that's why I kind of stay closed off from a lot of people and don't truly open up outside of the close friends and the mentees.
How do you create culture in your business and with your team?
Oh man, that's great. The slogan is everybody eats. Literally, whenever the team comes in, I'm making sure that everybody is taken care of. Everyone has a voice because you can only go so far by yourself. So even my mentees will tell you that's why we do two different calls a month to where you come in and you're able to express concerns, you're able to express anything that you're having troubles with in your business. All of that is very important. So you don't have many people that do that in the community. Oftentimes you invest into mentorship and you get access to pre-recorded calls. But I'm developing, or I have developed the community to where the mentees have a voice to where we can talk for hours in and just break down different strategies and methods.
Advice you wish you had followed?
Oh man, I wish I would have been more obedient earlier. That if it's one thing, it would be truly that is like understand that you have everything that you need in this current season. You just need to be obedient to the season that you're in, not try to rush out of it due to the it being uncomfortable, whether you don't like it, so on and so forth. So I wish I was more obedient earlier.
And what season are you in now?
Right now, I am in, I would say, nurturing season. So, like, you look at plants and I've blossomed out, I've helped a lot of people, but now it's time to nurture, which is, okay, let's get rid of, I would say, dead leaves or dead branches that no longer serving me. So, I'm being nurtured to not necessarily just completely remove people, but restrict the access. That's what I would say I'm at.
Dub, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I'd like you to ask the question and answer it.
What next? That's what I would have myself. And then the what next is true time freedom, financial freedom, and developing a recurring model to put you closer to that goal that you're trying to get because we all know that the recurring revenue is very important and just try to impact as many people as possible. So the question what next? It would be develop a recurring model to impact as millions of people.
And how do you impact people daily?
Spreading of the knowledge of credit, spreading of the knowledge of spirituality, spreading the knowledge of understanding mental health, mindset, all of those are very important.
If you could spend time with one person, the person is living or not, who is that person and what are you asking that person?
I hate to go here with it again, but I would truly want to spend time with Jesus. Let me just, because there's so many questions that I could ask you about just wisdom, about your understanding and how the human sees things versus how you see things. Because they say that his understanding is way beyond ours. If you have a better understanding of something, you typically get better results. So if it was one person living or dead, right, it would have to be Christ. It would have to be Christ.
Yes. And unapologetically, you can say that. And I want you to always be authentically who you are. And I appreciate you standing bold for Christ in what you're doing, in your mission, and just what you're doing. So I appreciate that. We come to the part of our interview. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
Absolutely.
What is your favorite comfort food?
Pizza.
You relax doing what?
Reading.
The last movie you saw?
I haven't watched movies in years, so I'll have to pass on this. It's been so
That's
long.
okay. Your favorite singer or rapper?
My favorite singer probably would be anybody from Maverick City, so we'll go Chandler Moore.
Your favorite dance song?
Pass. I don't know any dance songs.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Fried rice.
Workout or hit the couch?
Workout. Walking.
Deb Washington, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you, to do business with you, and feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Perfect. So first and foremost, please give me a follow at Dub Washington. That is DUB Washington across all social media platforms. Also, you can text EAT or class to 864-721-8750. I hold weekly master classes that's completely free. Or if you want to get into my lower ticket programs, I have a $99 a month school group. And then if you want to go further than that, I have a $2,000 lifetime mentorship. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, I offer a $20,000 Inner Circle annually program to where me and you work directly one-on-one to grow and scale your business.
Thank you, Deb. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.